again, episode 45, 2016, the year the music died. Also, it's been retrospectively titled. This is the year that we bade farewell to Bowie, Prince, Leonard Cohen, George Michael, and many, many more. Losing Lemmy in the last few days of 2015 seemed to herald one of those years where huge swathes of our pop cultural lives fell silent. And more widely speaking, a bleak year. Trump, Brexit, Russian interference, the failed coup in Turkey, the bombing of Aleppo, the terrorist attack in Nice. The worst year of what was a pretty crappy decade? On reflection, I'd say yes. And for me personally, a year mired in mid-40s ennui, plagued by work woes, a painfully frozen shoulder, just a meh year, a stuck-in-a-rut year, not a year to revisit if you're looking for inspiration or enlightenment. So maybe not the best year to be enthusing about music. It is what it is. Let's see if there's anything we can pull out of the dumpster fire of 2016 that's actually worth saving. The logical choice would be, of course, Bowie's Black Star, or maybe Laughing Len and You Want It Darker, final albums from two immense talents, both staring down death. Bowie finding something puzzling and mystical, unexplainable even, and Cohen laying his cards out face up, finding an uneasy peace between the past that shaped him and the unknowable future beyond the veil. Yeah, Bowie found one last character to play, one final cipher to confuse and delight and provoke. And Cohen just putting everything in order, settling old scores, physical, spiritual, intellectual, and pulling the blinds down before shutting up shop. I like both of these albums a lot, but I think 2016 needs a little more than epitaphs to commemorate it. So another pair of records with a kind of loose thematic link, both coloured by separation and loss. First, Radiohead and A Moon-Shaped Pool, an album which touches on everything from climate change to the poisoning of political discourse, but which is clearly deeply affected by York's separation from his wife and her subsequent death from cancer within months of the record's release. It's an eerie, kind of melancholic, numbed sounding record. And also Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds with Skeleton Tree, recorded in the midst of Nick's son's Arthur's death following a fall from a cliff in the summer of 2015. A minimal production, a barely there instrumentation layered with ambient noise, fractured keyboard lines. A tough listen, wrought in the aftermath of inexpressible grief, given voice by Nick Cave at his darkest point, spookily beautiful, becalmed and peaceful in places, rumbling and riven in others. Honestly, this is the last Nick Cave record I've fully appreciated, so I'd normally be minded to make this my choice. But no, 2016 isn't really that far removed from here and now. And I have problems, moral ones, with endorsing either of these artists, given the positions they've taken regarding Israel. I won't be drawn any further on that other than to state that whilst Radiohead and Nick Cave feel that cultural boycotts are either wrong or ineffective or misjudged, I strongly disagree. So let's move on. Some bands that were new to me in 2016. This is the Besnard Lakes and a Colosseum Complex Museum. There were a few albums deep by this point, I know, but my first experience with them, gazy, psychedelic, a splash of proggy stuff, and some classic rock riffing thrown in. I like it just fine. That reverb-drenched vocal thing puts me in mind of a considerably spacier My Morning Jacket at points. And yeah, this one was far closer to the top than I thought would be. The marvellously titled Femigism by Deep Valley. Yeah, guitar and drums, vocals, white stripes, black keys, etc. Yada yada. What differentiates them for me is a healthy shot of female-fronted grunge aggro. Think Pretty on the Inside period, Hole, Babes in Toyland, Dickless, that kind of thing. And it's not all gargling vocal outbursts and splenetic riffing. There's a surfy Dead Kennedys kind of edge to the guitars on occasion, and the odd foray into playful bubblegum pop territory on post-funk and Two Seat Bike, for instance, which offers, a genuine change of pace. I still like this a lot. It's OTT, stompy garage grunge, which rocks hard whilst wearing its influences very lightly. There was something, however, that tickled me then and now that happens to check a few extra boxes along the way to nicking my significant spot for this most bullshit of years. The unlikeliest of survivors in a year full of casualties, hitching himself to a more than capable psychic for his best record in, at least 25 years. So cheer up, it might never happen. This is Iggy Pop and post-pop depression. I'm not overthinking this one. I loved it on release. I played it to death at the time and it holds up even today. It's also the one record where I begrudgingly doff my cap towards Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age, amongst others, because whilst never being convinced by them, despite Josh's obvious technical brilliance, his co-writes here with Iggy, which is everything basically, his playing, his production, are absolutely fantastic, with nods and grabs from Iggy's Berlin, Bowie past everywhere. Backed also by Dean Fertitta of Quatsa and Matt Helders of Arctic Monkeys on drums, another band that completely passed me by. It's a varied record, a coolly textured, not the brick house riff fest you might envisage, more a vivid set of highly stylized backdrops to wring the most out of Iggy's lyrics, running the gamut from arch irony to paranoid screed to world-weary resignation. Is it entirely successful? No, but far more than it should be. The treasures easily outweighing the trash. The sleazy, washy shuffle of single Gardenia should immediately signal that Homme is not interested in lashing Iggy into the psychedelic punk machina of his main gig. Instead, a wobbly, rubbery bass takes the lead role, pulling the unwieldy shards of guitar along by the scruff of the neck. Lyrically, if there's a theme here, it's a reckoning with Iggy's inner stooge, his old persona, the walking death trip. Now that is something to be remembered, yes, but never revisited. A squawking freak rock of In the Lobby, stick with this for Iggy's skin-freezing mid-song shriek, and the buoyant, headachy pulse of Sunday detail that hedonistic impulse and turn their back on it. He sings, "Got all I need, and it is killing me and you." And Chocolate Drops rides this coaster to the lowest part of the snake, a doleful downhill rumination on where the goading of success leads you and where it must end. If you fail to move, there's nothing in the dark. It's just the same old excuses hanging on. Let it go. And this is making post-pop depression sound maudlin and desolate, but more often than not, it marries a playful strut with dashes of pure theatre from Homme and company. There's the Native American Morriconeisms of Vulture and the kind of idiot-style splashes of synth and music box percussion on American Valhalla and Break Into Your Heart. It's a really engaging ride, and given the time frame of its release, an interesting companion to Black Star. Both deeply reflective records. Bowie's on A Life Lived as Art, ending with a flourish, signing off with a final show of intent and daring. Iggy's on a persona that he's outlived, survived, able to look back on with a pleasing finality, with humour, and ultimately with relief. So this year, goodbye to Bowie and all those others, and welcome back, Iggy Pop. Some critics at the time were quick to declare this Iggy's last roll of the dice, a farewell by any other name. But I think there's life in the old dog yet, as long as that's what he still wants to be. So Iggy Pop, a kind of lighter, more reflective album, I think, for 2016 than some of the darker stuff I could have gone with. And I think onto this home stretch, the more recent years, things are going to kind of come into focus a little more. Everything's a bit fresher, a bit rawer. So stick with me through that, eh? How was your 2016? Did the general crapness of the year affect you personally? Yeah, let me know about it down below, and let me know what your choice for this year might be. You reached the final boss. Yeah, it's me. No, you got to the end of the video. Thanks very much for sticking with it. If you haven't yet subscribed, maybe think about that, and why not give it a like if you've enjoyed this video too. It really does help the channel out. Until next time then, I will say, please do take care, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.